Hi, my name is Asim Malik and I'm here today to advise you, Yanan, on whether or not you can claim back your £1,000 bonus which you have made in addition to working with the company in the last year's financial profit which the company has made. I'm going to run a few things with you in order for you to see whether or not you can in fact opt for being an employee, whereas the company is trying to say you are actually self-employed. An employee is in fact established in section 230 ERA 1996, and it states employee have contracts of service and independent contractors have contracts for service, and that is the difference. Contracts have of service and contractors have for service. Now, in order to establish whether or not you are an employee, certain tests or control mechanisms need to be established. Prior to the new multiple composite tests, there were two tests which were the integration test and the economic reality test. Now, these are not really sufficient as they are irrelevant to use nowadays. However, the control test was established in the case of Yunes and Noakes, 1980, where Branwell states that a servant is a person who is subject to the command of his master as to the manner in which he should do his work. Basically, the more skilled you are, the less control is present. Okay, and the integration test was established in 1959 in the case of Stevenson, Jordan, and Harrison and MacDonald and Evans. That basically was establishing and showing how the more integrated you are within the business, the more, well, not control, but the more work you have to do within the business, and the more integrated you are, which will mean you're an employee. And the multiple composite test basically summarizes and uses all three aspects into one, and it combines it, and which has three conditions to establish. This test was initially founded in the case of ready mixed concrete versus Ministry of Pensions and National Insurance, 1968. The three conditions are: number one, personal service; two, control to sufficient degree; and finally, mutuality of obligation. The control test is not defunct, okay, and certain amount of control is needed to prove employees, such as in the ready mixed concrete case which was established. However, before we go into that fact, personal service was established, or a case to represent would be Express and Echo Publications versus 10-10-1999. And in order to establish personal services, what you have conducted or what your main means are within the company, and however it states that you are in fact a computer software designer, therefore that is your main personal service. So that's again an example of you actually identified as an employee. Now, control to a sufficient degree. There are a few factors which determine control, basically the control the company has over you. In here, you spend at least 20 hours per week at the company's premises, which shows that they have sufficient control over you. In addition, you are required to be contactable in the event of any emergency relating to the software. Therefore, this actually shows they have another control over you. Obviously, you have to contact them and you have to be available at all times. Okay, and finally, the fact that they actually provide you with a desk and a laptop, which also shows that they have obviously given you something to obviously have as means of control, as you use that obviously to conduct your work or whatever you do at work in relation to the work. And finally, mutuality of obligation. Mutuality of obligation has two tiers of concept. First, there must be a contract. However, there is no evidence or written contract showing that there is actually a contract between you and the company. However, because you started working since 1st of May 2009, that may be a assumed contract, of you, because you've been working since that period of time. There may be a contract there, but it's not a written contract, and therefore there must be an obligation to offer and accept. Now, because you have been working the amount of hours and they've been providing you with work, even though you may be flexible, meaning that you can come in and work whichever days you want, whichever days you wish, that's not the case, because you are in fact going in there and you are actually accepting their work, and they're obviously providing you with your wages or whatever. There's the outcome of your work, which is obviously a beneficial interest for you. So there is a sign of offer and acceptance. And the cases to illustrate this are O'Kelly and Trust House 4 PLC, 1983, and Carmichael and National Power, 1999. Okay, and there is also no evidence of a substitute, meaning that you have in fact called upon a substitute to go and work for you, which is established in the case of McFarlane and Glasgow City Council. Therefore, it's totally irrelevant that you are self-employed and that you in fact may be an employee. Okay, and there may be things that the courts might use against you to say that you are in fact self-employed, such as a lack of future mutual obligation. One of the things that may rule against you, the courts are unable to aspect of seeing a foreseeable contract, such as you are working for other companies, that the court may, a future mutual obligation will be hard to see, as you are shown to undertake work for other contractors, such as in the case of O'Kelly and Trust House. Another element, which is that you pay your national NI and your tax, and this can tip the balance, favouring the self-employed status, as employees are supposed to deduct this contribution under the pay regulations. And in accordance to the element of substitution, it actually shows that you can be easily, even though you're not replaced, you haven't been replaced, but you can be easily replaced, as you only commit to 20 hours a week, and this is backed up by McFarlane and City Glasgow again. And the courts will not create an umbrella approach to contracts, because the mutuality obligation exists beyond the individual's assignment. However, some exceptions have been possibly made. Okay, now, as the mutuality test have been applied, as we have applied the mutuality test, okay, you may be liable to become an employee or opt for an employee in order to claim your £1,000 back. In the Nolan J states, in the case of Hall and Lorimer, he actually states that the object of the exercise is to point a picture from the accumulation of detail. Okay, this simply means that the courts will look at the whole picture and there will be no conclusive picture to what the outcome will be. Now, this is a factual matrix, basically is a question of a question of fact rather than the law. Okay, so even though you have met the criteria, they will still look at the whole picture. Okay, and that is all I have to say for today. And as you can see, I have balanced both what the outcomes will be if you do opt for an employee or self-employed. It is up to you to decide. However, by the looks of things, there is a good chance that you may be able to claim as an employee and recover your bonus and your losses, which obviously is the financial bonus that of £1,000 which you have lost in May 2009. And if you have any further questions, my name is Asim Malik, and you can contact me anytime. And I hope this advice was beneficial for you. Thank you very much.